This video is made exclusively for Rick601A, I believe that's his YouTube name. I've got the Altec Lansing mainframe taken apart, the 2200, and I have done some extensive testing and come across that I have two channels that are acting up. I'm using a 10 Hertz sine wave just from my phone, not a very pure, clean sine wave, but it does the trick. Just channel 4, it checks fine. This is going to be, I'm going to show you what a normal operating channel would do on the Sansui speaker on 75 watts. We'll max it out a couple times just to see what it looks like. The speaker's 130 watts, so we're not going to run it for a real long time like that, so we're not going to smoke it again. And because we actually started smelling something when we had it up really, really loud, and don't want to do that again. Woofer's fine though. It could, it could even be the crossover because it has lots of coils in it, but it hasn't malfunctioned, so I'm not going to try that again. Here's a good operating channel. Now on the matrix card, as I call it, which is actually a preamp, I've got channel 1 selected, and I've got card number 1 selected. Got the volume up on there and on here, and I have the audio coming from this TOA preamp, control set flat. The reason why I'm using two mixers is because I'm having the output of this phone go to the Sony mixer, which brings it into an XLR signal. Well, I'll just talk about that later in another video, but it works fine the way I'm doing it. Here's the card. It simply goes in like this. This number 4 is phenomenal. Go ahead and turn it on. We'll go ahead and wait for the relay to click. We have relay click, we have background hiss, and that's because I have it set so high. 10 Hertz signal. And as you see, it's working with no noise. With this channel here, oh actually over there, channel, I don't know what channel it is, but it uses different transistors from the rest of it, and that high frequency hiss that you hear cycles on and off with the 10 Hertz frequency. It goes, I don't know why it's doing that, and that only started doing that when I maxed it out. Like, oh, there we go. Okay, so I don't know what's going on here, but a few of these channels like to pop and crack real loud, so I'm going to check this backplane board back in there for solder issues, but it is working. What I was saying about that channel over there, I'm going to go ahead and max this out real quick. As you can see, definitely works. What I was saying about that card over there is the good working number 4. And here is the malfunctioning number 2. We'll do that last because it's the most scary. I don't even know if I'm going to... I think I'm probably going to blow up something when I use that one. On account of its actions on last time I tried it. This is the one that uses the SK transistors, SK347 and SK9033. Those are mismatched, I believe. Different date codes and everything. But it does actually work. And I was actually getting it to play sound just fine. It sounded great, in fact. But on this 10 Hertz signal, it's really fatiguing. Go ahead and plug it in. Turn it on. Okay, we got the background hiss. And you'll hear this noise. It sounds like a rubbing voice coil. Okay, I turned up the treble. You can hear that, definitely. Now, with nothing happening, you can hear the hiss. It's constant. And when you turn on the frequency, any sort of frequency, it really fatigues. And it's not a full signal. I can even hear the distortion in the woofer. So that channel's nuked. At least the mismatched transistors might be the problem. Now, The last time I tried this, you guys have seen it before, it pops and cracks, makes some noises and stuff. And, well, it went a little further this time. I had it on channel 8, which is the last slot, which is connected to that speaker down there. And the cone was like that, and I'm really not wanting to try this. But this video is an informational video to show you what's going on with this. It's going to make a lot of noise and it's probably going to cook something. The amplifier doesn't really have a problem with it. The mainframe itself doesn't really care. See, when I put it in there, already getting something. Probably because the filter caps are new. Alright, I'm not even going to try it out on audio either. I'm going to turn it on, and if it's too bad, I'm going to turn it right back off. And if something blows up in my face, it'll be more entertaining for the video. Okay. So I think the relay's bad. Just saw that big DC excursion there and it just moved again. I think the relay's stuck. So I turn it on. As soon as I turn it on, I'm already getting output hiss. With the rest of them, even the dysfunctional one over there with the mismatched transistors, it has to wait for the relay to come on for it to work. So I think I just uncovered or put a little bit of a light on the situation on this board. But it didn't make the noise like it always does. We'll go ahead and try it one more time. Well, it is working. Lots of hiss though. I'm not gonna try it. I'm not gonna force that one, but that one's very problematic. It doesn't make any noise when it's operating, like when it's in stable condition it is now. But there's something going on with it. So there's what it is. There's the problem. We'll go ahead and do that one more time. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. But I think what's going on here is this relay here. It says K1. This little guy right here might be malfunctioning. Now this does have the original 7751 date code transistors. These are 121-540s by RCA. The original ones were RCAs, I believe. Had a little bit of work on it. They used a solder wick remover. That's why it has that brown, nasty look to it. And where the solder joints are, where they've removed the previous solder. Sorry for that interruption. I'm always getting interrupted when I'm making my freaking videos. But as you can see, basically, from what I've found, the RCA transistors on these boards are original because the ones with the RCA transistors have the least amount of solder wick stuff on the back. These, channel 3 works perfectly. Well, almost perfectly. That freaking dog. 121-540, same type of transistors from 1978. These could even be originals because this thing was put in 1981, so all this stuff is old. But definitely has a lot of solder wick stuff on it. And I resoldered this whole entire board, so I haven't cleaned it off yet. But that's any of these that have the Motorola transistors on them have the most residue on the back of the pins where the solder pad is. Same with these. In fact, those have a lot of residue on there. I think it's rosin. Not exactly sure. But as you can see, this one's semi-dysfunctional. This one is very dysfunctional, but works. This one works better than this one. But I think the relay is stuck on this one. Not sure what to say or what to do about that. I don't know what voltage these relays are, or else I'll just remove it and test it manually. So if anyone has any ideas what I could do, I'm going to send these off to Rick601A. I'm just going to send them all because I know all of them have minor adjustments to be made. Like the DC offset and the bias and stuff is probably off because I was being stupid and messed with these controls when I didn't know why some of them were louder and quieter than others. I messed with them. But I've got them all on the same number, which is 2.5 out of 10 on that little marker. And the bias, or no, a DC offset is they've not been touched. And see, I don't know how to set those. Don't know how to measure them. I'm not perfect with electronics. I do know a little bit, but this is where I hand it off to someone else and they finish the job. But that's just a little bit of an update on this amplifier, and for anyone else who's interested in this amp. And heck, I'll even play some music through, let's get a well-known card. Let's use number 3 here. Go ahead and plug it in. And I have had all 8 channels working at once. It works well, very loud, very efficient. And, well, actually not efficient at all, but because it's, I think it's class A/B amplifier, they put off a lot of heat. Instant pop, don't know what that's all about. But it doesn't have any output until the relay clicks. I have to review the video and check on number 2, even if the relay clicked at all on that one. I don't even think I heard a click. So let me get some music going here. Just random music. Definitely works. These definitely respond well to low frequencies, I'll tell you that now. Alright, that's just a quick little test of just 1 out of 8 amplifiers. I also have the second amp down there. They both function. I was about to say malfunction. They don't malfunction in any way. And I found out these are step attenuators, like volume controls. Like some of them will have volume pots like that, and some of them will will have these cool little switches. There's a quick 12-minute update, or a little bit over 12 minutes because I wasn't watching the clock on the screen. So there's a quick little informational video for a RIC 601A, and for anyone else who wants to keep up with these this amplifier repair on this beastie right here. If you're wondering where I keep the screws to hold this thing on, I keep them actually in the gussets themselves until I put the thing back together. And the mainframe itself is functioning just fine. It's just the amp boards are a little wacky. And of course they all function to some degree, some of them more than others. So we'll see how this goes once I get the amplifier cards back from the YouTuber who has contacted me. He seems like he knows quite a bit about these amplifiers, so I can trust him. And plus I got this thing for free. What would I lose if it died? But I really want this thing to work, so oh, I forgot to show everyone the setup here. I just speakers hooked up here. Here's how I'm doing it. Because I don't have the 600 ohm transformers on that input card, just the 4 pots. These XLR cable or XLR inputs are not used, just these unbalanced. This is in out, not 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's the outputs. Heat shrink. Well, I soldered the actual. I didn't just crimp them. I soldered them, and I put heat shrink over everything. And I did blue and gold. Just I don't know why I did that, but worked out perfectly. And you can see here this mixer here, which is responsible for making the signal big enough for this beastie to use, doesn't have RCA inputs. That's the whole reason why I have 2 mixers going to 1 amp. And making progress. Thanks for watching. This video is made exclusively for RIC 601A, I believe that's his YouTube name. I've got the Altec Lansing mainframe taken apart, the 2200, and I have done some extensive testing and come across that I have 2 channels that are acting up. The reason why I'm using 2 mixers is because I'm having the output of this phone go to the Sony mixer, which brings it into an XLR signal. Well, I'll just talk about that later in another video. But it works fine the way I'm doing it. Here's the card. It simply goes in like this. This number 4 is phenomenal. Go ahead and turn it on. Using a 10 Hertz sine wave, just from my phone. Not a very pure, clean sine wave, but it does the trick. Just channel 4, it checks fine. This is going to be I'll show you what a normal operating channel would do on the Sansui speaker on 75 watts. We'll max it out a couple times just to see what it looks like. The speaker's 130 watts, so we're not going to run it for a real long time like that, so we're not going to smoke it again. And because we actually started smelling something when we had it up really, really loud, and don't want to do that again. Woofer's fine though. It could, it could even be the crossover because it has lots of coils in it, but it hasn't malfunctioned, so I'm not going to try that again. Here's a good operating channel. Now on the matrix card, as I call it, which is actually a preamp, I've got channel 1 selected, and I've got card number 1 selected. Got the volume up on there and on here, and I have the audio coming from this TOA preamp, control set flat.